Hello everyone. There have been many different periods in the history of mankind. Now is definitely not the best of them. We live in a world of chaos, endless shocks and crises, but this has not always been the case. Today, I will try to recreate the world that preceded this. I will be based on the available information and comparisons. The information is available, both official and alternative. But it's like in our storerooms, there's trash up to the ceiling, there's nowhere to put your feet, you'll never find what you need, but there comes a time when you need to sort everything out, throw out the unnecessary, put the rest in its place. Today, I will move on to the study of our global past called Atlantis. In my opinion, Atlantis is a non-city, an island, or a state, as many people think, and this is a form of the world order of the entire territory, which is now called Earth. Therefore, there is no point in looking for the lost Atlantis. We all live with you on her remains. If you look at modern geographical maps, top view, we will see that meridians and parallels depart from the center. Such markings are also present on the symbols of well-known international organizations. That is, the whole Earth is divided into circles and sectors. Why exactly such a division? Where did it come from? Modern science does not answer this question. For what purposes such a division is clear, to determine the coordinates of the object's location by longitude and latitude, but scientists do not explain where such marking originates from and why it has the shape of circles and sectors, and not some other. It is difficult to find information on the internet that before our era, long before Copernicus and Galileo, ancient Greek scientists came to the conclusion, imagined, clarified something, drew parallels and meridians, but for me it is more convincing. There is another ancient Greek, Plato, who in his dialogues described the shape of the territory according to the principle of alternating terrestrial and aquatic rings, which were later separated by canals and bridges. We are talking about the legendary Atlantis, and then it becomes clear why circles and sectors. Because the whole Earth was like that. Parallels are water and earth rings, and meridians are channels and bridges coming from the center. This layout is called radial ring, and we can see it not only on the world map, but also on the maps of most ancient cities, such as Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kharkov, Cologne, Paris, London, and many others. Cities with such planning have survived to the present day, albeit in a reformed form. There is no trace left of the global layout of the entire territory of the Earth. And only meridians and parallels remind us that it once existed. If you think about it, then such a world structure based on the principle of the water and earth rings is rational in all respects, both from the point of view of the organization of life, and from the point of view of defense capability, and from the point of view of creating a comfortable climate. The climate is influenced by the ratio of water and land. The more water there is, the more unstable and unpredictable the climate is. This is a well-known story with anticyclones and cyclones that give birth to oceans. In Atlantis, there was an optimal ratio of water and dry land, and not as now, when 70% of the entire surface is occupied by water due to the chaotic location of the land, somewhere the flow is very strong, somewhere weak, somewhere the flow temperature is high, somewhere low. In general, a complete mess. In Atlantis, the water moved strictly along the rings. Hence the expression, the water cycle, the most real horizontal circle, and not the imaginary one that they tell us about at school, according to Plato. The Earth's rings expanded not only in radius, but also in width. The last Earth ring was the largest in area and the most densely populated, because it was located in a comfortable climate zone. It's like at the foot of a mountain, where the optimal indicators are atmospheric pressure, temperature, and humidity of the air. I assume that the rings of Atlantis were also located in the shape of a cone from top to bottom. That is, each new ring was the level of the one below. Based on the information that modern geographical maps provide us, and my idea of Atlantis, the northern territories of Eurasia and America should be located in the nearest terrestrial ring, and Australia and South America in the latest comfortable one, from which there is practically nothing left. From the point of view of such a world order, many expressions become clear and understandable, such as parallel worlds. This concept is now used in the field of esotericism. But at the time of Atlantis, this was the most real reality. One ring was located above the other, on parallel platforms, the so-called belts of life. By the way, it is also a well-known concept, and in this situation, its meaning is revealed more deeply. It becomes clear why the belts of life, and not something else. As a result, the belts of life became circles of hell. We still use such a word as wrap-up when we talk about the completion of some business. And this verb directly indicates that in the recent past, all creative work was carried out on the principle of rings in the form of a circle. There is also the word terrace. We imagine it as some kind of extension, a new step, but the word terra means earth. That is, we are talking about the earthly stage. In the city where I live, in Ulyanovsk, there are even regions with this name, the upper and lower terrace, that is, the upper and lower steps of the earth, the height differences of which are 60 meters. Moreover, the lower terrace is located below sea level, right under the dam itself. This is very similar to the Atlantean device, only on a city scale. There is also such a thing as outlook, that is, it is a review around. In general, there are actually a lot of concepts and expressions that remind of the real structure of the Earth. Naturally, I didn't remember everything. If you need any, if they come to mind, be sure to write in the comments. If we consider this information from the point of view of the cannibal Satanists, who control the remains of Atlantis, the embodiment of a great civilization, its poor copy is, you won't believe it, a wedding cake. Dividing the cake into segments, eating these pieces, crumbs, remains on a platter, is another satanic rite of communion. Through this, people are made complicit in the collapse of Atlantis. If you think so, we are defeated. We live on the machines of a great civilization, and at the same time, we celebrate its destruction, even symbolically, through the procedure of absorbing the wedding cake. In general, another feast during the plague. So who is the Lord of the Rings, who captured and destroyed Atlantis? Plato in his dialogues talks about the brother of Zeus and Hades, Poseidon or Neptune, the famous god of water. But few people know that the god of water originally, he was the god of earthquakes. He summoned them with a blow of his trident. I believe that it was a powerful energy weapon based on atmospheric electricity. And, although Plato speaks of Poseidon as the master of Atlantis. In fact, he was its invader because he went down in history not as the king or creator of a great civilization, but as the god of earthquakes and water, which destroyed Atlantis. Atlantis perished as a result of an earthquake and flood. If he really would be a peaceful ruler, then why would Poseidon cause the destruction of his land? By the way, an interesting fact, I found information that it was Poseidon who created the sources of salt water. That is, before him, all the water was fresh. In my last video, I talked about the fact that salt is used to control humanity and the climate. Or rather, through salt, There is a containment of life potential. And no matter what anyone says about the seas and oceans and their inhabitants, marine mammals, large fish such as bowhead whales, stingrays, octopuses, walruses, polar bears prefer northern and deep waters, where the salt concentration is minimal, that is, salt water is an unnatural environment for them. They are forced to live in it, adapted to salt just like humans. I myself am surprised at how everything fits into the big picture. There is a lot of information. This is far from the final, but I will finish for today. The continuation will be in the following videos. That's it. Thank you for your attention. See you later.